beyond normal. Now look, he stands in his way.
I'd heard this incestuous revving and speeding through our neighborhood of the motorcycle. I eventually saw the guy on Saturday. I didn't know who it was. I did push him because he was coming towards me on his bike.
You did what?
I did push him because he was coming towards me on his bike. I did push him because he was coming towards me on his bike. He did it again for a second time. I pushed him a second time.
Oh.
I think the second time he got off his bike and it kicked the crap out of me.
I've been wanting to commentate over this one over the past couple of days, but if you've been following the channel, you know I've been a little bit under the weather as of the last 2 or 3 days, but I'm feeling 110% right now, so let's get active. Hollywood actor Alan Ritchson, right, star of Jack Reacher, exonerated after beating the brakes off of his Karen-ass neighbor. Now, we have to go over this content because we often go over confrontation or conflict content, specifically amongst two men. So the story goes that Alan Ritchson was out taking his sons for a early Sunday morning dirt bike ride through the neighborhood. And it started out as normal father-son time, and then it ended essentially with his neighbor getting his teeth rocked. So when the story initially dropped, we had footage from a neighbor's house from across the street, and we'll go through that footage right now. And the internet initially came down hard on Alan Ritchson. And then the neighbor got up on TMZ and was popping a lot of ish, but also said something that ended up not working out well for him in the future. And then Alan Ritchson dropped the official camera footage that the neighbor didn't know that he had. So we're going to go through all of the documentation and figure out who was actually right versus who was actually wrong, because depending upon which version of events that you believed, you're going to be looking at the situation completely differently. So let's strap in for this one and let's get active. Without further ado, now here's the initial footage that everybody saw, and I cannot play at least the first couple of seconds of it because it shows fighting, which is against guidelines. So I'll narrate it, but you'll see just from the still image that Alan is delivering a swooping right hook to a downed opponent. But let's proceed. Oh, bam. Okay, that was one. Ha! Two. Oh, he's throwing the uppercuts with the... You could tell he knows how to throw a punch. All right, so he's walking away. He gave the young man a little bit of bashment and then starts to walk away. He's picking up the helmet, right, which signifies that he's trying to leave. Meanwhile, okay, so he lost control of his bike again. He's flustered, okay? You can see his boys behind him just sitting patiently waiting, not a fear in the world, because Alan apparently has it. By the way, he's a big boy. He's about 6'5", 240-ish pounds, okay? So you see the neighbor is coming back, quipping, just being annoying, right? And, you know, you can see him try to ride away, and then eventually he rides away, okay, after delivering the beat down. Now, and somewhat rightfully so, without seeing the full clip, a lot of people were coming down on Mr. Jack Reacher, like, yo, how could you beat this guy up in front of your sons? What kind of example are you setting, right? And typically things that I say on this channel is, you know, keep your damn hands to yourself, unless you are having to defend yourself. Nevertheless, Mr. Reacher kept extremely quiet in media about everything that was going on while he allowed his opposition to dig their own grave. Let's watch the neighbor talk on TMZ.
It started on Saturday morning and I'm an experienced motorcycle rider. I've been riding bikes all my life. So, you know, from dirt bikes to street bikes and etc. But
okay,
I'd heard this incestuous revving and speeding through our neighborhood of the motorcycle. I eventually saw the guy on Saturday. I didn't know who it was.
Sure,
and
you
I
didn't.
sort of like flippantly sort of said, "Guy, do you, like he was quite a way." And I said, "Can you just slow it down, please?" And then there are numerous people in my neighborhood who caught all of this on Ring doorbells of him speeding through the neighborhood. And on Sunday, when I was cleaning my bike outside my house, he rode past once, twice, and on the second time, I walked out in front of him and I said, "You've got to stop. Someone's going to get hurt." And it escalated quite quickly from there. I did push him because he was coming towards me on his bike.
You did what?
He rode past once, twice, and on the second time, I walked out in front of him and I said, "You've got to stop. Someone's going to get hurt." I did push him because he was coming towards me on his bike. I did push him because he was coming towards me on his bike. He did it again for a second time. I pushed him a second time.
Oh,
I think the second time he got off his bike and it kicked the crap out of me. And you can see he hit me in the back of my head. I went to the ground and covered myself. I've had such a shitty day today, and I don't wish the guy any malice or ill will, but we just don't need people riding through neighborhoods like this. And I just decided, I'm take a stand because someone else has to, because it's going to end up way worse than it could.
Oh, shut up. So this punk bitch gets out on TMZ, face all busted the hell up, and readily admits to pushing somebody that was on a motorcycle. Let me ask you guys a question. How close do you have to be in proximity to not even just a person, but a person that is on a vehicle for them to be able to push you? Chances are too damn close. Now, this clown goofball moron who apparently wanted a little bit of fame, go and try to act like he didn't know who the man was, now is up on TMZ pleading his victimhood case while admitting that he pushed the actor 2 different times. And at this moment, Alan Ritchson, Mr. Jack Reacher, knew this man effed up. And he actually posted this on his Instagram. At Alan Richardson, never interrupt your enemy when he is making a mistake. A quote from Napoleon Bonaparte. And you can actually see some of the love and the hate in the comments on the side. We're all on your side, bro, to disgusting what you did. Circle of Bella Rose says this man was punching a guy face half of his side. Yeah. These people who romanticize what violence actually is, especially violence from a man that is in protection mode of his children. They never know what it looks like or understand what to do in these situations. Meanwhile, will armchair criticize you for the actions that you took to protect. Now, another thing that I always stress on this channel is, man, record, all right? Because my man saw all of this happening and said, you know what? They don't even know that I got the body cam footage. Let me drop the body cam footage. And this is what truly exonerated him, all right? Pay attention. Beautiful neighborhood, by the way. Look at that. Now, listen, he's not loud. He's not revving like beyond normal. Now look, he stands in his way and he falls off of the motorcycle, okay? Listen, you gonna fall off of a motor vehicle like that? Thank God he had a helmet on, and it looks like he has gloves on, so he has other forms of protection on. But listen, people fall off of motorcycles and die every day, B. And here you go standing in his way. Like, so he comes up. I'm gonna have to block out some of this because so he pushes him down, and the guy is holding his ground. He said, go ahead and knock me out. What? Crazy. Okay. The boys just watching. So the situation is ending right now, okay? And he's still yapping. Like, it makes no sense to me how many people romanticize, as well, like just fighting. People overestimate how they can protect themselves in a situation like this. Meanwhile, you could tell that the man has never trained anything. You're going to place yourself in a position where a man can legitimately hurt himself. And now you're still yipping and yapping in his ear? Are you insane? And at this point, force is equal in nature. You stood in front of his way and he gave you a shove. It wasn't even a punch at this point. But anyway, let's see how it escalates. So this is the point where I think the bike goes insane, where he like taps it a little bit and it goes up on the curb. Let's see. And he's still, and his boys are there, like talking about endangering the kids, but the boys are right there. Oh, there's a... So the guy is still in his way, And at this point, yeah, so then he pushes him again, and he gets off the bike and makes him pay, okay? Oh, all right. Here come the uppercuts, boom, boom. And he's cowering like a frail man. And that was it. That was it. And now he's learned his lesson, and now he's not going to do that again. Okay, that's where the bike went up. All right. Assault and battery. It's wild that he thinks he's in the right. That's wild. That's what unchecked emotions will get you, and Karen behavior will get you. You think that you're above the law while you're breaking it. Yeah. And the thing is that he didn't go above and beyond. I'm talking about Jack Reacher. He didn't give him a Jack Reacher ass whooping. Okay. He didn't go too crazy. He didn't stomp him in the face a bunch of times while he was down. I think that he met force with the same degree of force, maybe a little bit higher, a little bit more, but it wasn't enough to like incapacitate or right to seriously hurt and or injure the guy. I think it was a necessary amount of force based off of leave me alone. Cops are not here to come and protect you or me or right, like leave me alone. Leave me alone. Leave my boys alone. Leave us alone. And it's also crazy to think how much of the context of this entire situation changes once you see a minute or two before the original content hit TMZ or hit the internet. All right. It immediately changes, even just hearing the bikes themselves. Right. And it's not to say that there's never been any type of revving. Unequivocally, this is absolutely textbook definition of self-defense. His progress or his path is being impeded, and he defended himself from being contained. And it appears that the local authorities actually agree with me. Reacher star Alan Ritchson acted in self-defense in neighbor fight, Tennessee police say. Investigation concludes actor will not face criminal charges, with Ritchson also declining to pursue a potential charge against his neighbor. You guys can pause and read if you do so choose, but pretty much I've gone over everything here that the article already goes over, and I think that this is absolutely the right conclusion. But the beautiful thing amongst all of this is that the idiot admitted that he instigated the physical contact with him to begin with. And if it wasn't for the video cam and if it wasn't for this idiot going on TMZ and getting blood drunk with potential fame, right, it may have not gone as easy for Mr. Richardson. But this one is just a riot. I did push him because he was coming close towards me on his bike. And then you got footage of you walking into the middle of the street to impede his progress. So no wonder you got the crap kicked out of you.
All right, guys, did you see it? Alan Ritchson, Thad Castle, Blue Mountain State, Arthur Curry, Smallville, Reacher, beat the absolute fucking socks off of his neighbor yesterday, and it's all on video. I'm gonna reenact it. Okay, so the guy is looking up, and he's like, no, Reacher, no! And he gets knocked out. Beats the absolute freaking brakes off this guy. I'm not gonna lie, what an honor it must be
great
to get the
uppercuts.
shit kicked out of you by that guy. I wouldn't even press charges. I sure hope Buddy doesn't get canceled for this, because he's such a great actor. He's so funny. I'm just tickled pink. Honestly, if I got the shit kicked out of me by Reacher, first thing I'd be doing is telling all my buddies. I'd be on FaceTime. Dad, look what Reacher did to my face. And my dad would be like, that's my boy. All right.
There I was innocently standing in the center of the street trying to citizen arrest this behemoth of a man trying to ride his motorized cycle in our gated community. Stop! In the name of me, I said, and for a second, gentlemanly, he did. And I walked over and went whap whap in the face. No. This type of transport is not ideal. Do not ride it. And would you believe it? This man continued to stroll his motorcycle down our driveway. So I had no other choice. Like a gentleman, I stood my ground and I shoved him on the motorcycle. And then he did something terrible. Something truly American, I must say. He got off his motorcycle. And in front of his 2 children, I just smacked him in front of. He proceeded to beat the ever-living crap out of me, mercilessly, for not 1, not 2, but 3 seconds. And I, let it be known, I assumed the turtle position.
Yeah,
and
he did.
He still punched me. I will be tweeting the Queen about this. This is ridiculous, preposterous. There I was.
Listen, England down 2,000 points after this one. But listen, guys, I think I'm done sharing the content that I've been meaning to share for like 4 days at this current junction. But better late than never. All right, we here though, baby. But listen, if you was to strip away all of the noise when it comes down to this, I think the first thing on the side of the English bloke, don't start nothing that you ain't prepared to finish. All right. Well, I guess before that, it's don't instigate a crime expecting that you're going to get someone else doing right. Like, why? It doesn't make any sense to me, especially if you can't even fight, right? Like, you should just get down in the fetal position after acting tough in front of, right? Like, have a meeting with them, give them a call. Isn't there much more rational, responsible ways to conduct yourself as opposed to putting yourself in a way or in a manner to get your ass beat? One would think so. And you going to pick it on Jack Reacher, this 6'5" big bastard? It makes no sense to me. Okay. But on the Alan Ritchson side, kudos. She played that perfectly, bro. All right. Because the narrative flipped completely once the full video came out, once the full context came out. And, it would have completely changed as well if you put your hands on him first, or if you were to block his movement, or if you were to provoke him in front of his kids, right? And then that takes it from being an innocent bystander to an instigator into the physical confrontation. And then the authorities would not have seen it as self-defense as what they concluded within this investigation. So I think for all of us is that, number one, practice a self-defense, a martial arts skill set, okay? But also, number two, if you find yourself in these situations, the self-defense itself is not about the optics. It's about how to neutralize the threat as fast as possible. And sometimes that can come in the form of you getting out of the situation, okay? But when there's other factors, and I'm talking about running too, right? Ain't no shame in running, right? If the neutralization of threat, right? Like if you facing the threat puts you at an odds that do not make sense, right? It's like a group, they got knives, they got weapons, guns. It's all right to scram because the goal of self-defense is to live to fight another day. But in the context of this situation, he neutralized the threat, understanding that he's got these expensive vehicles here, understanding that his kids are right there. And if something was to happen to him, his kids would be in danger potentially, right? And you have somebody that's just not leaving you alone and they're impeding your progression, right? All of these things have to be considered within a split second to decide what to do. And he decided to give him a couple of, with good form too. All right. But anyway, jokes aside, a disciplined man will do everything in his power to avoid conflict wherever possible. You must understand that. But avoidance itself is not submission and it's not cowardice. Okay. It just means that you understand the threat of violence and that you want an outcome that leads to little to no repercussions or consequences for yourself. That includes legally and as well as, injuries. And we all not going to have access to cameras when it all gets on and popping. But, I do think that public figures have to think about things a lot differently, which is why they put cameras in their cars, right? Like he's got a camera on his person when things are like this happening, because you just never know, right? Cameras all in around your house because you just never know. And I understand that the thoughts in being a private, it's a little bit different, but I still do think that it would benefit private citizens as well. Anyway, guys, leave me your questions, comments, concerns down up in the comment box down below. What is it that you think about the situation and how it was conducted, how it was handled? Have you experienced a situation like this where you had to defend yourself, right, because your back was pushed up against the wall or your progress was being impeded? Were your kids there, right? Was there someone that you were protecting there? A girlfriend, right? Your sister. Guys, let me know. Pour it down up into the comment box down below so we can have the same exact conversation. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me. I love you guys, and make sure y'all are staying safe out there, all right? Until next time. Peace.
So, without further ado, MTR, cut through the BS like we in charge. No cap with the rappers like steel bars. I'm packing and rapping like here we are. Here we are. Mediocre tutorial reviews. Like, comment, share my views. Come up and I paid my dues. Big step in my black way shoes. MTR, he break it down, yeah, it's MTR. Check out the sound when it's MTR. No one put it down like it's MTR.